Okay, Google, please be seated. Oh, wait a minute.
Y'all can be seated.
Hey, Siri. You can be seated too.
I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do, but we're both going to be talking, so just so you're aware.
Yeah, this is less prepared. We don't have any kind of notes or anything.
This is like impromptu talking stuff. I was almost going to say the other S word, but I didn't, Ben.
Oh, salamander. Yeah.
That other salamander stuff.
Keep those fishy words to yourself.
Salamanders aren't fish. They are reptilias.
Okay, So
I need a pulling thread.
You had the topic.
I did.
Weren't you going to start it? We just talked about this just a couple of minutes ago while you were hearing music.
I just teased in bed. Okay, last week I talked about the topic of love. I thought, since we went through all those 8 different types of love, that we could kind of elaborate a little bit more on what those are and how we can show other people love and receive love. And of course, even in our own personal way of receiving love can be different than other people. It just all depends on a lot of different factors. But there are ways that we can give love that are more universal. So we're going to try this. We'll see how it goes. We're experimenting on you guys. Aren't you lucky? At least we're not cutting you open. That is at least something.
Anyway, and if it flops and you don't like it, you can get back all the money that we forced you to pay on your way in the door.
Which was zero, nada, nothing.
Yeah. Anywho, so.
Okay. See, the problem was we didn't write down what I was saying when I thought about this before, and I don't really remember everything that I was saying. But the main thing is just realizing how important it is to accept other people. That's tied into probably a lot of other things too, not just love, but when you love someone, say for example a friend, and you care about them a lot, you don't want bad things to happen to them, and when they come to you and they have an issue, it's not like you flippantly just tell them to go away and don't come back, I don't want to hear what you have to say. Maybe if it's not a good time, you might say, can we talk about it later, because whatever is going on, maybe you just don't have the time at that point, but you eventually get together with them and you have a conversation and you talk with them. It's not like you just brush them off and you never get to talk to them about the issue. I think if we would all just kind of be more open with each other, that communication is a really big, what's the word? See, I need to be able to communicate with you all so you can understand what I'm saying. Communication is key to relationships. You can't have a good relationship without communication. Doesn't matter what form the communication comes in, you still need to be able to communicate with the other person or other people, depending on the way the relationships are. So we're talking about friends, we're talking about family, we're talking about our significant other, whatever gender or etc. they may be. Hopefully they're not animal, because that would be kind of odd. But to say the least, right?
Well, non-human animal. Let's say a different species.
Yeah, that's what I meant, Well, anyways, We had, I found out online, and we had gone to our local LGBT welcome center, which is very new. It just opened this past Tuesday, and we were told that there was a local teenager. He had been cyberbullied for whatever reason. My guess is possibly because of his sexual orientation, and he committed suicide. And I was just thinking, to myself, that if we accepted other people the way that they are and realize that we're all human, we all have similarities. I mean, we all have bodies that we live in. Maybe they're not the same shape, but that doesn't matter. We all have blood in us, so if we bleed, it comes out red. Our hair and eye color, our appearances might be different, but we all are human. We all have different characteristics that define us as human, but we have these differences that shouldn't make us hate each other just because somebody else is different from us. And it was kind of sad, and it was, I don't like hearing about people that believe that their last recourse is taking their own life. And a lot of people don't like talking about that because it just seems like it's a sad topic. Well, of course it's a sad topic, but we need to talk about it because it's happening a lot, it seems. Or maybe it's just the media that decides to make it seem like that. But
with the internet now, we know a whole lot more about what's going on places than we used to.
Yes, and we had talked about the fact that suicide is high in the LGBT community, that culture, and just being aware and being able to look at someone and say, it's not like you have to love them in a romantic way and, that kind of stuff. You don't have to love them that way. Too many people think about that kind of. No, you don't have to go about loving everyone that way. But enough loving someone just the way they are, accepting them in that, who they are, and allowing them to be them, and just being able to, maybe it's just a casual friendship, that's fine, or just saying hi to someone and smiling, because everybody wants to be noticed a little bit, like even the ones that don't think they want to be noticed. But yeah.
And they also told us about one case they encountered where I don't think they said the age of the child, but
I think she was 15.
No, the one who was kicked out.
Oh, you're talking about someone else.
Yeah. Someone's parents kicked them out of home late at night, and this person called them because they didn't have any place to go, because they found out that they are not attracted to the opposite sex. And you would think a home should be a place where you're loved.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the teenage girl when they went to the LGBT festival, the Pride Festival downtown, that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can talk about that one if you want. But being kicked out of their home, if the parents have this, and it's very easy for us humans to do this, it can be hard for us not to do this if we're not paying attention. We form very strict ideas about how things should be. And when somebody else doesn't live up to our ideals, we can go pretty ape.
Yeah, we freak out. We make it seem like our expectations of what they're supposed to do, what they're supposed to be like, are more important than the actual person that they are.
So I think we all would do well to just be careful, watch ourselves, make sure that we're not going down that same road. That it's not about, what do I want or what do I think is good for you, but taking into account the other person and who they are and accepting them for that and letting them be them and loving them for it.
Right. Well, I guess I can kind of, because this kind of goes with what you were talking about. The story I was thinking he was talking about was of a 15-year-old girl who, her and her family, her parents, and I don't know if there were siblings or not, but it was at least her and her parents, they had gone to the festival, and her mother was telling the story, and how it really impacted her daughter to see what was going on there. And there was no rioting, there was no protest, there was no violence of any kind or anything like that. There was just a lot of acceptance and just a lot of fun, and just amazing things were going on. There was a lot of art, there was music, there, all these different things that were happening, and she was really enjoying what was going on. And her mother had told the Welcome Center about how her daughter was affected by being there Saturday, and then they went back Sunday, and the fact that her daughter was a lesbian, that made it even, because they didn't realize about how much of an impact it was on them as a family, really, to see what was going on, to experience something that it was kind of like they were, in a way, immersed in the culture without having to go really that far from home. They were just in this area and being able to experience everything.
I might be mixing up that story with another one, but wasn't the mother talking about how hard of a time her daughter had? Hadn't she recently come out to them? I think the rest of the family, she hadn't yet.
I think so,
and she was having a really, really hard time with it. And she went to this place where there was love and it was peaceful and she was fully accepted for who she is, and it really made a difference in her life. So when you help to create an atmosphere of acceptance and truly unconditional love, it can change people's lives. They might end up not committing suicide, or at least not being as miserable as they were.
And maybe being able to find someone they can talk to because that person's been there, or at least they are able to at least empathize with them enough to say, the things that they really need to hear, what they should be hearing, being accepted for who they are, even though all these other people are giving them negative reactions and things like that. Downtown, next to the LGBT Welcome Center in our hometown here, there's a lounge that we've gone to, and outside the lounge there is a sign that says, I think it just says, "Hate is not welcome here." And I think that's probably kind of what is something that is important to strive toward, to be around people and not trying to put them in the little boxes of who they are, but I mean, more of hating or judging them for who they are, what they are, whatever, but to actually see them as people and to love them for just the way they are. Being able to do that. And one of the forms, of course, that we talked about last week of love is the familial love, the love of family between parents and the children, and the children and their parents. And sometimes it's difficult. It just depends on what kind of parent you have. And as Ben was talking about, the ones that have been kicked out of their homes because their parents they're very strict and very set on how they expect their child to be. And when that doesn't happen, they do something, I don't know if they'll ever regret doing that, but they do something that they can't change that, because the child will end up being hurt by that. It's painful when you're not accepted by your family, and it's painful to be estranged from a parent or a whole family that you thought would love you no matter what happened, and then you come to find out that that's not the case, and then you feel betrayed because they went back on how you think they should have been. We're getting really serious here, Ben. But we've been kind of talking about serious things, which is fine. We don't, sometimes talking about something serious is important too. Not just about things that give you warm fuzzies and have rainbows and starbursts and, things, happy things. But, yeah.
And now for the next 5 minutes, please enjoy yourself as we sit here and stare at each other.
Oh, I didn't know if you had something else you wanted to say. I feel like I've been talking the most. I guess just kind of to summarize or wrap up or whatever you want to call it.
You're gonna rap? Okay, I'll do the rhythm. Oh, sorry. Here's a tissue. Wipe off your face. Go ahead.
I guess what we're really just wanting to say that love in all of its forms and all of its possibilities, it's not it's an important emotion, it's an important action word, it's a verb, Your actions speak for themselves. Even if you say one thing, what your actions will convey will be something different. If you say you love everyone, but you show judgment or prejudice or hate for a certain group of people or a whole bunch of people, or just one person, people won't believe you. You have to show love to other people in certain ways, and there's a whole list of ways you can show your love for someone. We're not gonna go into those unless you really want to, Ben.
Well, even better than a list is just the principle, because if you know the principle, you can make your own list in the moment. Love, really, this type of love boils down to empathy. Instead of how do I think this person should be, well, what makes you think that your way of being is in any way superior, other than the fact that it's you? If the other person, who's completely different from you, and you have a problem with those differences, felt the same way, then to them, you would be the wrong one who is worthy of being rejected. And they would be the one who, the way they is right. If that makes sense. So, that's one good thing to remember when you're trying to become more loving is put yourself in that other person's shoes. Realize that you're not the epitome of what's right in the world or how a person should be. You're just as flawed as the next person. Even if you think that person is much more flawed than you are, you're wrong. So, practice empathy. Put yourself in that person's shoes and let them be right too. Closing words?
Can I tell a little bit of a story?
Story words?
Well, this is a true story. And I probably have mentioned this man before, but I just wanted to mention him again because I was talking to you about him earlier at work with one of my colleagues. I was telling him about our family friend Gary. Gary was over 6 feet tall. He was black. He had served in the military. He had one of those voices that carried. He was a good man. he would take my mom to her appointments an hour away from her house, and the times that she couldn't talk, he would tease her probably about the whole time that they were on the drive, because she would have to write down her answers of what she wanted to say. And I know there were times that she had things like yes and no and I don't know or thank you, or, certain words and phrases that she had written down that were constant for her, that she would just let him read so that he knew what was going on and everything. And I remember the times that I would see him, it was always like pretty much the first thing was hug. He would give me a hug, and I would hug him around my waist. Around his waist. Yes, I was going to hug him around my waist. No, I hugged him around his waist because he was so much taller. He was probably a foot taller than I was. And when I was in college, he would send me letters. And I mean, not just one-page letters. These were like 3-4 more page letters that he would write. And he would write about his time in the military and what that was like for him as a black man. And he would write, all these different things that I didn't know about him, but he would write them in these letters. It was like having another grandpa for me. And I'm telling you this because in his special kind of Gary way, he was showing me that he cared about me, that he loved me. He knew he cared about me as a person, and I wasn't uncomfortable with him. It was always like I was just another granddaughter to him because of the way he interacted with me. And that's how we should interact with people. We don't necessarily have to hug every single person we meet. I'm not saying that. But there are cultures that if you don't hug them, they get upset with you. If you don't let them kiss you on like the cheek, or it's a cultural thing, and if you don't let them do it, it's kind of disrespectful to them. But as Ben was talking about, empathize with people. Allow yourself to open up to people. Allow them to open up to you. Communicate, and just let everybody be themselves. Let them be who they are. And I just want to see what will happen. It's like watching a flower bloom or a butterfly come out of its cocoon, to see what people will do when you start loving them and empathizing with them and letting them be themselves, letting them grow. And yeah, I just want to see it. I'm good at observing, but I also want to be able to live my life the way I'd like also, because that would be nice. I guess that's all we have. I hope you got something out of this, because yeah, this was so very impromptu. And so, if you have anything that you would like to talk about, you can instant message one of us in Second Life if you are, of course, in Second Life. If you aren't in Second Life, you go to almcyberchurch.org. We have director's offices there. You click on there. I'm not exactly sure the way it goes, but
yeah, it's over to the left above the door. It says director's offices. Click on the link. A little window opens. And you can collect. You can collect $200 and do not pass. Go directly to jail or something like that. No,
and you get a unicorn.
Yeah, to ride away into the sunset. Yeah, you click one of us. It'll be Benjamin Saltry, Mediposa Saltry, whoever you want to talk to, and just send us a little message there.
Okay, then.
But the best thing is to click enter the virtual world. Sign up for a free Second Life account. Go in there and look us up.
Yeah. ALM Cyber Church. In there.
Yep. Or the Foxy Lady.
That's the club's name. I came up with that. Aren't I cool? Okay, well, anyway, so what's the next thing?
The next thing is, here in a few minutes, we're going to meet out in the garden across from the church.
It's a my garden.
She's not at all possessive about her garden. And we'll just hang out there for a little bit and chat.
We're going to be weird over there. Just so you know.
Yeah, we will hang out in here in the sanctuary for a few minutes. In case you want to,
talk.
Whatever.
See, we're gonna do whatever.
Yeah,
whenever we want.
We might not hang out here. We might just dash over there, for all you know.
We might even set the church on fire, right?
Well, we could. It's not gonna really hurt it.
Let it snow. We could make it snow.
We could make it snow, make a torrential rain inside, and set it on fire.
How about a tornado? Can we do tornadoes?
Add a tornado.
Hurricane?
I think everybody.
Flooding?
I think everybody's viewer is going to crash if we do all of that.
Like one right after the other. Like set it on fire, then let it rain, because then it won't be on fire anymore.
Yeah. Anywho, well, let's go ahead and wrap up. And thank you all for coming.
She's totally messing up my fun. Yeah. May you have a wonderful week, and may you who are listening, be empathetic to other people, love everyone around you, and be yourself. Let others be themselves and be free. And we love you. Bye-bye.